that simple.
That's pretty amazing, man. I mean, what is it? I think it's like Jeremiah 1:5 says, I knew you.
Before you were in your mother's womb.
Yeah, before you were formed in your mother's womb. When you were born, I set you apart for you to be a prophet of nations.
Yeah.
The word prophet, man. Like, it sounds like you said you saw, you had a direct encounter with God when you were 6. And to be prophetic, obviously, there's a prophetic gift, but then for one to call themselves a prophet, that's a high calling.
It is.
And I mean, instantly, just even, I'm sure, even with the name, you automatically get some naysayers. You automatically get some people that, who is this man to call himself a prophet?
That's
be aware of false prophets, as the word teaches. Tell me how you came about that process and taking that high calling, that title, to walk around with that every day.
Well, when the Lord appeared to me, I was only 6.
Right.
So I didn't know what a prophet is. I didn't know any of that stuff. All I knew is that he talks to me. I would tell my mother, I was 6, I'll tell her, Mom, your sister's going to visit on this day and this day. And she'll be like, oh, you're playing. And then on that day comes, at that time, she comes. So she started she started wondering, how are you doing that? I was like, no, he talks to me.
Right.
Because everybody, after a while, I realized that not everybody hears God the way I do. Sometimes even in church, I'll be seeing the minister preaching, but I'm a kid, and I'm like, he's not really saying what he's trying to say,
Right.
So I realized that not everybody can hear what I'm hearing or seeing what I'm seeing. Very few people had the ability to pull from God. So for me, it was never about the title. And honestly, the word prophet just means spokesperson. It's just people glorify titles over function. And we rather be a title that is impressive than being a person that can help people. Because serving God is about helping people. It's not about you being glorified. It's about him being glorified. And the greatest in the kingdom is servant of all. You see, when people say they are false prophets, but you have to ask yourself, how many people in church call themselves prophets? There are not many.
Right.
But are prophets the only one that are deceiving, or their pastors deceiving people every day that are even worse? You see, the only problem is you can't call yourself a prophet unless you have the ability. You see, there's an accountability, because if you say something and it doesn't happen, now we know that you don't hear from God.
Right.
So people rather be apostles and prophets and evangelists and still deceive people, but they don't want the title prophet because it comes with consequences. Can you really hear God?
Yeah.
You can't be, there are people who are prophetic, and there's a difference. Like you said, there's a difference. There's people who are prophetic, and there are people who are prophets. Prophetic people can't pull from God, but a prophet has to be specific with what is going on with you.
Yeah.
And has to be able to give you an answer.
Yeah.
So that becomes now scary for people who have never actually encountered a prophet that have been in prophetic circles.
Right.
So it's easy to call someone, and me being African doesn't help me, right? Oh yeah, he's a wizard, African.
But African witch doctor.
But the point is, more people are getting help, that at the end of the day, people realize they're being led to Christ.
Yeah.
People are repenting and being on fire for God.
Yep.
No witch or wizard is going to lead people to God. He will lead them away.
Yeah.
So it's, but it's people's egos that kind of gets in the way.